So hello everyone, thank you very much for coming to this Ozcode webinar. It's the very first webinar that we are doing, and I'm extremely excited to be here with you today. My name is Igal Tabachnik. I'm one of the developers of Ozcode. Some of you might know me on Twitter as HMemCopy, HMEMCPY without an O. So if you have any questions for me or feedback or anything, just find me on Twitter. Or my email is not here. My email will appear in the end, and you can send me personal questions if you have any. So let's get started. If you haven't heard of Ozcode, then I'd like to tell you that Ozcode is an innovative debugging tool which we've been working on for the past several years, almost 2 years in development. And the idea was to transform Visual Studio's debugging abilities into something that's really fun and easy to work with. Over the years, Visual Studio gotten lots of improvements where productivity, writing code is concerned. You have all kinds of cool features. But when it comes to the debugger, it has been lacking, to say the least. So new debugging features are not introduced, if they're introduced very slowly. And we wanted to change that. We wanted to make the debugging experience something that is less painful. It's really fun even, because all developers debug. Even developers that write unit tests and do TDD, such as myself, where we usually tend to spend less time in the debugger, but still sometimes we need to debug and to understand our code step by step, line by line, and it's usually an involved process. So with Ozcode, we wanted to help you identify and fix bugs quicker. We wanted to save you time while you're doing this, and you will see exactly how this happens in a short moment. And I'd like to mention that the current status is that we are feature complete for the first release. We are kind of release candidate status. We will be releasing the first version of Ozcode very, very shortly, within the next week or two. So stay tuned. And because of this, as a token of our gratitude and of token of our appreciation, we wanted to personally thank all of you who were our early adopters, who tried our betas and reported issues and tried our product for a while. And this is why when we released the product, we wanted to give you an option to just give you a 50% discount if you want to purchase a license. And this is yours. You will get an email within the next week or so detailing what you need to do. You will get a coupon code which you can apply if you purchase a license, and it's just yours for 50% off. So with this out of the way, let's just jump straight into Visual Studio, and let me just show you the product. Okay, so here's my Visual Studio. Basically, what I'm about to show you is a little demo application that we've created for the purposes of showcasing Ozcode features. Now, the source code for this demo is available with the installation. It's located on your disks. We will put the link to the location exactly where this is found at the end of this webinar, so you can kind of practice this for yourself. And the first thing I'm going to do is let me just run this application. It will show you kind of a grid of all kinds of features that this tool can do. So the very first thing I want to show you is actually what is the experience, what happens after you install Ozcode. Now, you might not be if you're not familiar with the product, but you might heard that this is a Visual Studio extension for the debugging experience. Then you will probably want to know exactly what's going on after you install it. So let me click on this simplify icon, and we will stop at the breakpoint here, the debugger break. I will show you exactly what's going on here. But the first thing I wanted to show you is that when you're debugging, when you stop on the breakpoint, you will notice a couple of new interesting things. So, I think, okay. All right, so the first thing you will notice is that when you hover over variables in the debugger, you will notice that the data type, the object inspector, which allows you to see into the object properties, is looks a little bit different. This is because we're completely replacing and providing our own data type. And this data type is very special. If we look into it, okay, so you can see that I can still drill down into properties and see all of them, but there are many different things that you can do here. And for this example, we will show how to navigate objects and how to how to understand your objects a little bit better with the debugger. So this demo is actually this is a function that supposedly gets a bunch of, we have 10 prizes to give to our loyal customers, and what we want to do is we want to just grab a bunch of customers from the database and do some selection on them. So we want all of the customers below the age of 62, and we want to send to all of them the prize. But it seems that we have a problem here that while we have 10 prizes to give, we're not really, somehow we did not pick 10 winners. So we're not sure how this happened. So what we can do is just let me drag this, the breakpoint right here to the beginning of the function, and let's just start debugging. So when I look at the customers list, I can see that I got back 30 customers from the database. Now, unfortunately, when I look at this list, I don't really see too much information when I'm look at them, because the customer object did not implement its own either toString method, or there's a special attribute called debugger display, which would allow me to kind of add custom debugger information. But this is probably a business object, a POCO, and normally nobody implements those things on POCOs. So what we can do, we can open this object and go here, and we can see all of its properties. What I can do to make kind of understanding what object I'm looking for easier is to go and using this feature we're calling reveal, using stars to kind of highlight the properties we are interested to see. So for example, I'm interested in seeing the ID property. I will click on it. And I'm also interested of seeing the full name property. And now when I scroll up, I can see that those now appear at the top. And I can see that the display now shows me ID1 full name, the full name. When I collapse this node right now, you will see that this is applied to all of the objects of type customer. So immediately I'm able to see exactly what's going on in my list without having to drill down into each and every one of those objects. So reveal works great on properties. It also works great on nested properties. So suppose I have an address here, and I want to see what city my customers are in and what is the zip code. So I can select the city and zip code properties. But what I can also do is select the address property itself. And now what will happen is that the address will be appended to the display of the customer, and I can see into the object. So it reveals a lot of information about the object without me having to go and kind of expand it in the watch or just all clicking plus all the time. Of course, I can also search if I wanted to search for any particular member or item or name. So suppose I want to search for Michael, I can just do that. And you can see that it will find all the things that have to do with Michael. So it's the properties, the fields, and even it searches in the representation of reveal. So this is just a tip of what you can do just by immediately installing Ozcode and just browsing your objects with the new data type. But this is just the beginning. So the problem here is that we are, for some reason we did not get, we have 30 customers, but for some reason we did not get 10 prize winners. So let's step over and see exactly what's happening. So when I press F10, when I do a step over any instruction, and you will see that a little icon appears here on the left of the instruction. This is a feature we're calling Simplify. Simplify allows you to display the result of statement execution of method calls immediately on top of your debugger variables. So if I click this icon or use the shortcut Alt-J or Alt-K, you will see that I have a preview of the result of what was executed in the method. So this customers repository.load customers from DB returned a link query which returns 30 customers. But it gets interesting when I keep going further. So let's execute the next statement. Press F10. Now let me just show you what simplify reveals here. So first of all, you can see that when I hover over this little box, you will see exactly the expression, the link expression that was executed. And we can see that if I hover over prize winners, then we have just 3 winners. So this is something that that should not happen. We expect to have much more winners supposedly to have been picked up, but we're only getting 3 as the result. So let's take a look at what each of those parts of the link expression returns. So for this we can just kind of drill down and look deeper into the expression, and you will notice by navigating it, then different parts of the expression keeps getting highlighted. This is how deep within the expression we are currently looking. So I can use shortcuts Alt-K and Alt-J to navigate those. And now every highlighted part will display its results right here on the top. So let's start from the beginning. So the result of the entire expression is that we have three results. Now if we go back a little bit, we have this order by, and you can see that the order by, just until the clause until the order by, also returned 3 results. So let's go backwards. So let's press Alt-J, and now I'm on the where expression, and the result of the where also shows me 3 results. So one more going back, and you can see that we have this customers where is eligible for price, and when we look at it, we can see that we have many more results right now. We see that we have 11 results. So as you can see that all those properties that we revealed previously, they are still here and they are still visible to us, and we know exactly who got selected. Now, if we look at this expression, we can see that of all those customers, we are trying to pick those who are under the age of 62. But it doesn't make much sense that we have only 3 people who are below the age of 62. So let's go back to the customers property, to customers variable, and let me find just one with the age. So this seems to be like a proper age. Let me just put it, let me cancel the address here, and let me just start the age property so I can see it right here. Now let me collapse this customers list. If you notice, I seem to be having people that are over 200 years old. So this is obviously a bug in the code which calculates the age property. So probably what's happening is there's a bug within the age property that it calculates the incorrect age of a person. And what we can do from here, immediately from any one of the properties, by hovering over the edge property, we have this little magic wand here. And this little magic wand, let me just kind of resize this, so we can also kind of resize the data type if you really want to fit it to your particular view. So when I hover over the age property with the little magic wand that we have here, this magic wand is something that we really like. This allows you to kind of do contextual operations that make sense on this particular value, on this particular object. So one of the things that we can do from here is go to the definition of this property. And when we click on this method, what will happen is that we are getting taken to the actual definition of the age property. So straight from the debugger property, I jumped here, and I can kind of see what's going on. Somebody, they probably don't work here anymore, but somebody put a modulo instead of a division. So let me just kind of stop the debugging right now. Let me just quickly fix this to put a division here instead of a modulo, and let me just put a breakpoint right here so I can stop here. Now when I press F5 and my application runs, Just give me a moment. It's build started. I'm on an SSD. What's happening? It's probably... Wait, it didn't die. For some reason, it's still running. You have to trust me that this didn't happen. Let me just quickly see if I... Ozcode demo. That's really interesting. Okay, build succeeded. Let me press F5. Alright, so excuse me for the technical difficulty. So now let me click simplify again, and you will see I've stopped on this breakpoint. And now I'm assuming that my fix fixed all the problems. And now I would like to verify that the age property now displayed correctly. So actually I'm here within the customer class. So if you'll notice on all the property definitions right now, I have this little icon here. And this little icon is also something that Ozcode provides. And when I click on this icon, you will see that I have an option here of showing you the values of age in all instances. So what we do is we scan through all the instances of the customer object that are currently loaded in memory. And we see that we only have 30 customers loaded in memory. And we can display their age in this particular view. So you see the age is highlighted. And you can also see that the ID and full name still also highlighted from the previous save result. So this allows you to kind of show all the instances, actually show all the values of a particular properties in all the instances of the class without you having to go and reconstruct the query or load everything from the database. If that happened once, so those are probably reference types. They exist in the memory of your application on a managed heap, and you can just visualize their instances immediately. And all the rest of Ozcode features work here. So for example, search, I can search for, let's search for Martha, and you can see that Martha is here. Also one more thing I can do here is that the search will only match those properties that contain the word, properties or fields or values that contain the word Martha. Now, if I wanted to kind of expand and see the entire instance, there's a little eye icon here that when I press it, it shows me all the rest of the properties that did not make it into the search. So this is, again, this is very useful, allow you to rapidly inspect and query the object without adding it to the watch and going deep within the object and trying to expand it and whatnot. So this kind of reveal and simplify helped us to discover actually the root cause of the problem. So now let's kind of go back to where this initially came from. So now if you can see, let me just scroll up a little bit. Now I have 10 prize winners, and they're all aged appropriately. And now I can go back to the actual method that I was called from, and let's see what else the simplify feature can do for you. So let's keep stepping over and let me just show you what's going on here. So for now that we have selected 10 customers for which we are want to give them the prize, but of course we cannot just give them the prizes away. Our company also needs to make money, and so we of course need to make sure that this price is within our pricing range, and we add all appropriate taxes and shipping costs, and only then we can send the gift to our user. So one of the things we want to do is we want to kind of get to check whether or not this customer is eligible for discount. Now we use this by doing a ternary expression, and you all love those, especially if you use ReSharper. I love those personally very much, but they're sometimes hard to debug. Now when you press F10 and step over this line, when we click on the reveal, we click on the simplify button, you will see a few things. First of all, you will see right here the result of the entire evaluation. Next thing you will notice is that this get discount price is stricken out, which means it wasn't called. The left part was not called as part of this evaluation, the right part was. And we can drill down and look into the individual parts and their individual result values, return values, and we can make sense of the expression even farther. So we can see that this returned false, therefore this was not called, therefore this was called, and this returned 300. And the result of the entire expression is 300. So we can see that simplify works with ternary expression. We can also see that it works without variables. So we have here a try parse which has a out variable. So the result of this is true, and the result of each individual part of this is a string called 21, and this is an integer saying 21. Also, we can do a compound addition expression, so plus equals. We can also simplify that and show you all the parts before and after. Also, we work on, and this is really cool, we also work with ref arguments. And when we do that, when we simplify this, we wanted to show you the value kind of before and after. So what you can see, we have a little arrow here that kind of lets you see what was the value before and what was the value after calling this method with the ref argument. Finally, we can send in the gift, and well, this does not really give too much information, but again, you can visualize just about any expression. Now, two things I want to mention about this feature. This feature existed in all, it kind of existed since day one of Ozcode, but in versions previous to Visual Studio 2013, you had to enable something we called enhance mode. Right now I'm running, let me just stop running the app. And you can switch, if you're using Visual Studio 2010 or 2012, in order to enable this feature we call simplify, you have to enable enhanced mode. In Visual Studio 2013, you don't need to do this. We take advantage of the new API in Visual Studio 2013 to kind of ask for those values from Visual Studio. And so you don't have to use simplify. In Visual Studio 2013, this feature works with like normal console apps or class libraries. It also works with Windows Store apps and Windows Phone 8.1 apps, but only if you install Visual Studio Update 2. So if you want this in your WinRT or Windows Phone apps in Visual Studio 2013, you need to install Update 2 if you haven't done it already. So this was kind of a compound demo of reveal, which are the stars, simplify, which is the expression visualizer, and search, which is something that's available from within almost all the data inspectors, almost all the property inspectors that Ozcode provides. So from Quick Watch, from the data tip, from show all instances, we will see in the next demo how show all instances can be able to, is useful to pinpoint a particular issue. So let's just carry on into that. So let me rerun this demo, and now I'll show you something that's called show all instances. And this is a feature that we really like, but actually before showing that to you, we are now in an exception. So I got an exception right here. And who doesn't love a good exception? Now, so I have here an invoice exception, and this is a first chance exception that happened, so I've caught it before getting into the catch block. And this is something, by the way, which you can toggle from this button. We are providing a little toolbar with the actions. One of the buttons here, it says break on all CLR exceptions, and you can toggle this. If you ever needed to open the Visual Studio exceptions dialog, which is the shortcut Control-Alt-E, and now you kind of have to wait about a couple of seconds, and then you would normally toggle this button and press OK. And if you wanted to cancel that, you would have to close this and open this again, wait a few more seconds, and then disable it. So you don't have to do this anymore. We now give you a button which you just can toggle this with a single click, and there's also a shortcut for this. So you're welcome. Now, if you ever kind of, here I'm in the catch block. So if you ever have to deal with nested exceptions, so you know this is not fun. So this is the regular exceptions kind of exception assistant. Now what you would normally do is you would click on this view detail, and then you will scroll down and you will see that there was an inner exception, and then you would click this inner exception to reveal further that it has an inner exception. This is really not the best way to debug this. So with Ozcode, we invented something that we like to call exception trail. An exception trail is this little icon that you can click here, and it says view exception details. When you click on this icon, we pop open a tool window which you can dock, and this tool window gives you a really nice kind of view of what happens with your exception. First of all, if you can see, if you have nested exceptions, we kind of give you this breadcrumb trail which you kind of click and drill down into each individual exception and see exactly what it is. You can inspect it, you can search for its values, you can do all the things that you can do with Ozcode. And what we also do here is we add two links that can take you to two places, either where the exception was thrown. So if I click on this link, it takes me here to this method right here. Now I know that I'm here in the I know that the last thing that happened was a null reference exception. The most inner exception was a null reference exception. So I can assume that this invoice probably was a null. So already I can kind of determine exactly where I arrived from just by clicking onto go where exception was thrown. Now let me go back to where it was handled. So this will take me back to the catch block, to the try and catch block, because this is the last place where this exception was handled before going out. And so again, you can use this. Now suppose you're just starting out with .NET development and you're not really sure what a null reference exception is. So what you can do is you can click this button and you can just inline do a search for either on a Google for the exception name or the exception message. You can also do Stack Overflow. In the future we will let you add custom searches of whatever provider that you want. For now I just use Google and Stack Overflow. This should cover 99% of all the use cases. One last thing about this dialog is that it is also available when you're not debugging your application anymore. So now if you have stopped debugging or your process quit and your debugger stopped, you can still press this button that says view exceptions and you can see the data is still here and you can still navigate it. You can click around and you can inspect your exception even after you're not debugging anymore. Of course, there will be some things that are not available. You will not be able to kind of drill into properties that you did not drill into before, but you can still use search, you can still use the breadcrumb, you can still use the Google search or Stack Overflow. So that's how you handle exceptions with Ozcode. So this is really a useful feature. So now let's get back though to the feature that I wanted to actually show you, which is show all instances. Now the reason that we got this exception is that we kind of have this producer-consumer queue going on, where there's a thread that kind of dequeues invoice IDs from this queue, and it sends an invoice to a particular invoice ID. Now for some reason, for this invoice ID, we did not find the recipient. So we want to see who this ID who this invoice belongs to. Now, let me just hover over this, right-click, and just copy the value to the clipboard. Now, the thing is that we are currently running from another thread. So the original customer object, which was added to the queue, we no longer have access to that. So it came from another scope. It exists in another part of the application. We don't really have an access to a list of customers that we can just simply kind of hover over. But that's not a problem. What we can do is we can just simply ask Ozcode to give us all the customer instances that currently exist in our application. For this, I'm going to have to stand or hover over the customer type right here, and I can press this button or the quick action, and quick action also has a shortcut which is Alt-Shift-D. And now one of the options here says show all instances of customer. When I click on this, you will see the maybe already familiar to you show all instances dialog, and this did exactly what it was meant to do. It went through the entire .NET managed heap that currently your application is currently using, and just showed you all the instances of customer that are currently exist. Now, they might, because we've dragged things around, they might exist several times, but still you kind of see all instances of this customer type. And of course, this is not just limited to customer type. You can use this to visualize basically any reference type you have. So let's, for example, see how many strings we have. So if I type string, you can see that I also have code completion. So when I press string, we can see that in our .NET memory, we currently have 6,515 strings. So you can drill down, and you can see exactly there's a whole bunch of interesting things around here. But this little show instances allows you to visualize your managed heap, so you don't have to go into a more advanced debugging tool such as SOS. No longer. So if you want to explore your managed heap, you want to see exactly how many instances, how many boxed instances of something you have, just use this show all instances. You can use this from either hovering over a type from within, either from within the magic wand. You can press show all instances, or from the quick actions, or from within this button right here on the toolbar that says show all instances of type, and you can just start typing. So this was show all instances and the exceptions trail, two features that we really like, and they save a lot of time when debugging. So let me just stop here. And now let me just show you a couple of more really cool features. So now we press F5. I will not show you all of them. We will make it short and sweet today. But one of a couple of many cool features that I wanted to show you is something that's called trace points. That we're really proud of this one. So a trace point is something that it's a sort of a breakpoint which can perform additional actions when it's hit. So it's not really hit, but it rather, instead of being hit, it performs additional operations. Now this feature existed in Visual Studio. If you ever kind of created a breakpoint and clicked with the right-click menu on any one of your breakpoints, you will most probably either use condition or any one of those two menus, create and delete. There's also one here that says when hit. And when you click on this when hit, it gives you this very strange dialogue and a lot of instructions how to do stuff. And this breakpoint, when it's hit, it allows you to print some information to the output. But this is really not really a discoverable way of doing this. So instead of just having you to create a breakpoint and kind of and go in and set its when hit data, we allow you to do this in lines in a feature we like to call trace points. So in this little demo, we have something that that processes customer orders. Now the bug here, I was told that some orders are being estimated that will be delivered in 2020, in the year 2020. So we really like we would really like to send gifts to our or orders to our customers much faster. So let's try and find out why some orders are being sent, or what orders are being sent in 2020. Now the problem is here that we're using parallel for each to process a list of customers. So we cannot really debug this method sequentially, because we will keep jumping between different tasks, different threads. So what we would like really to do is to add some logging, some tracing information. But we are currently debugging. And in order for us to not kind of stop and recompile, and we can add logging on the fly, so what we can do is we can actually trace values of your application. So for this, when you hit a breakpoint within a function, you can hover over any variable. So this one says expected delivery date. And what we can do is we can hover over with the magic wand, and we can say create trace point with value. What this does is it pops up this little dialog that says that already populated the expression that we kind of want to see, and it gives us a little preview of what this will look like. So what we can do is we can actually add variables or properties of variables into this trace point expression and have it printed in the built-in log viewer, which we will see in a second. So what I can do is I can just, let's say I want to visualize the expected delivery date. I also want to kind of to kind of understand what kind of order this is. So what I can do is I can hover over the order variable. Now you can see I have this little yellow thing here, which I can press on it, click on it, and it will add the value of that property immediately to the trace. So let's say I want to monitor the ID and the destination of this order, which is something that the information that interests me. And now I can also add things myself. So let's say I want to know what task ID this is being executed on. So I can just say task ID and just give it a task dot current ID. So you can see I have also code completion within this trace point editor. Now I can close this menu now, and you can see that on all the lines where I have tracing information, I have this yellow kind of yellow action, which I can click on it and will let me edit the trace point or view the messages or delete the trace point. So let's click view messages, and you see that it's still empty for a while. Now let me also add another trace point that will actually notify me every time this method is being executed and its customer ID. So what I can do is I can press this button right here that says show quick actions, and it will give me an option that says trace every entry to send pending orders. When I do this, it will create for me a trace point with this information already filled in. Entered, send pending orders, customer ID equals customer ID. So now when I run this application, let me just press F5, you will see that this trace points log viewer, which we have, is being populated with data. So this already gives you a really rich view of what your application is doing. So you can see that all those values happen from within different tasks and within different cities, etc. So what you can do here is what you could normally do with any log viewer. So you can filter if you want. You can group things and filter things by process or by thread ID, and of course you can search. So and of course you can also see the stack trace. And when you double click on an entry, it will take you to the place where it was recorded, which was nice. But our original problem was that some orders are being delivered in the year 2020. So let me just search for 2020. And I can see that, well, I don't have many, I probably missed some. In the demo there were many more entries. But you can see that for some reason all the items that have the destination set to Paris are being set to delivered in 2020. So this is of course a deliberate bug that we caused with Paris, but again this allowed me to kind of pinpoint and search for historical information that already happened without kind of having to stop and recompile and add custom logging or custom tracing. So I did all this from within my breakpoints by using trace points to kind of let me add this additional information. So I can clear, I can export to CSV or Excel if I want. And let me just, just for fun, let me just run this again. So let's go to trace and let me just run this, and yeah, now I have some more. You can see that the filter for 2020 was the search for 2020 was available. So now I can see that indeed all the entries for Paris are for some reason marked to be delivered in 2020. So this was trace points, and actually I also showed you briefly quick actions. Quick actions is just contextual informations that contextual actions that you can do from within the method. So let me delete those trace points. Let me put a breakpoint right here. So when I step on a breakpoint, You can see that in debug time we have several things that are available to you. First of all, we've seen that we can trace every entry. When I stand on the customer here, I can do things like show all instances of this, and you will notice that when I hover over show all instances here, the definition of customer gets highlighted, so you can see exactly what is being referred to when I click on one of the contextual icons. One of the contextual items. So there are many things to explore here. Every time you kind of see this magic wand or any new icon, you can just click and see what it wants to do. Of course, you can also do this if you're not seeing the icon. So we're not necessarily have to be in debug mode to add trace messages. So if you wanted to add trace messages from the design time while you're not running, you can also do this. You can stop, you can hover, you can place your caret on this variable, press the show quick actions key, which is Alt-Shift-D, and you can also create trace point from the menu. But this is not always visible, so it will not distract you from your actual writing code. This will be visible while you're debugging, but if you want to do this from within the design time, you need to invoke the shortcut manually. And you will have also different options for runtime and design time. Actually, one more cool feature that I just forgot to show you when we were doing the simplify demo, and this is just let me go to customer. You can just go to just a second, the context menu. Let me just go to the age definition of the customer again. From right here, I can just click here and just go to definition. When we are debugging, we're also adding this quick actions on top of properties, which will allow you to show all instances of this particular value, see the instances of this particular value. But there's also a class level quick action here, which is available on top of every class definition, and this allows you, for example, to quickly add a breakpoint to every member in class. So sometimes when you exploring a new piece of code, you kind of want to know who exactly calls it and where. You would normally kind of just want to go and put a breakpoint onto every method in this class and just run it. So what we allow you to do is just simplify this to make this operation simple by just clicking this menu and just doing add a breakpoint to every method in class, and everything that's not an automatic property or just a method will get a breakpoint. Of course, you can also always use this to remove breakpoints. Wait, this is address, sorry, customer. You can remove breakpoints and add breakpoints, and this is a really convenient feature that lets you kind of, again, explore types and explore classes in a much more convenient way. So we have about 10 more minutes. Let me show you a couple more really nice features. So let me close this. Let me close the trace messages. Now, one of the nicer things I wanted to show you is something that's called filters. We can filter collections. So if you have a collection of items, you can apply predicates, which are essentially filters. A predicate is something that takes an expression and says whether it's true or not. So you can apply filters on top of collections. So here I have this little demo which I use to kind of explore to try and understand what gccollect does. So I have here a little method that's called addPersons, and this addPersons kind of goes and creates common American names. So it has a bunch of common surnames and common first names, and just kind of mixes and matches them together, and to create a bunch of common American names. So now once I have this collection, and I add 10% to this collection, I do a gccollect, and then I add 10 more, do a gccollect again, and then I add 10 more. What's supposed to happen is every time I call gccollect, the previous collection is supposed to move because it's being held by the actual list. The items in that collection, the person instances, are supposed to be moved to the new generation within the garbage collector. So if I select, let's look at this in a quick view. So if I select in a quick watch, I'm sorry. So if I select this variable and display it in a familiar quick watch, And this is our quick watch. So again, you can search, you can use all the other features. One of the things you can do is when you expand this, you see that you still have 20 names, and sometimes there's a, oh yeah, it generated Jennifer Lopez. So it's a common American name, turns out. So what we can do is we can filter this. So what we can do is we can either right-click on this root node and select Edit Filter, or we can do this from within the magic wand. We also have this as a magic wand action. So we can do Edit Filter. And what Edit Filter allows us to do is just basically to specify a predicate. What we have here is this obj surrounded by square brackets. And this obj refers to the actual, it's an item within the collection that this predicate is being applied to. So what we can do is we can just simply do like a gc.get generation of the object, and what I want to do is I want to find all the objects in this collection which made it to generation 1 of garbage collection. I will not go into any details. If you're not familiar with the details of garbage collection, I really recommend reading the book CLR via C# by Jeffrey Richter. It explains it perfectly. But right now I want to just kind of see what objects made it to the generation 1 after being collected. So now I just apply this filter, and you can see that out of 30 customers I am now seeing only 10. So this is the second batch. This is all the persons that were added after the first GC collect. So all of those are now exist in generation 1. So you can see that a filter is being applied to this collection. I can click on this to edit it. Let's see if there are any filters in generation 2. Any persons generation 2. They are the first one. So after the second GC collect, the items that were added in the beginning made it to Gen 2 because they are long-lived. They survived 2 GC collection attempts, etc. So that's it for today. For the rest of the features, you can check out our features page, which is on Ozcode, oz-code.com/features. I see that you've asked a lot of questions, and I see most of them or all of them have been answered. So if there's one we've missed, we promise to go all over them again and kind of and answer them, and we will post the video for this webinar and the questions and answers on the blog post within the next couple of days. I would like to again remind you that as a token of our appreciation, our gratitude, you will get a 50% discount on the day of the release. So watch out for that email. Make sure it's not ended in your spam folder. And lastly, I want to thank each and every one of you for coming and staying. My name is Igal Tabachnik. My email is igalt@oz-code.com. Or if you want, you can find me on Twitter. It's @hmemcopy without an O, HMEMCPY. Thank you very much for coming, and we'll see you next time in our many more upcoming webinars. Good day.